From SF Land, this is Dorking Out, a podcast for people who love to dork out about movies, TV, and everything pop culture.
Welcome to Dorking Out. My name is Sonia Mansfield, and I'm the man-eating bitch Darth Vader of the ad world. Joining me is my podcasting sister from another mister and the co-host of Dorking Out, Margo D. Hello, my friend.
Hey, sugar tits. Okay, Sonia is sick, so I shouldn't make her laugh, but I couldn't help myself.
No, it's good. Yeah. I'm sorry, everybody. I am sick, so if my voice sounds a little like Peter Brady, a little like, I'm really sorry. But there's no way that we watched 2000's What Women Want, and I couldn't let that shit go to waste. I was like, no, we have to talk about it. I don't care how sick I am. We have to do it. So we are talking about What Women Want, starring Mel Sugar Tits Gibson, Helen Hunt. This is actually a really good cast.
Oh, it's an amazing cast.
Yeah, this cast deserved a little better. Helen Hunt, Marisa Tomei, she's so cute. Ashley Johnson, Lauren Holly, Loretta Devine, Sarah Paulsen, Anna Gasteyer, Judy Greer, Bette Midler, Delta Burke, Alan Alda. What are all these people doing in this movie? Directed by Nancy Meyers, who, of course, would go on to direct things like It's Complicated and Something's Gotta Give and other movies that I like to call kitchen porn.
Mm-hmm.
The kitchens in this movie are very disappointing.
Yeah, she didn't hit peak kitchen yet.
No, I was really bummed.
That was coming up, but she has a lot of beige.
Yeah. I thought this would be a fun one to talk about because it's 20 years old, and it's kind of the idea that Mel Gibson's this like, it's a real stretch for him. He plays this like sexist creep who works in a Chicago advertising agency because people in these movies always work in advertising, magazines, or architecture, and they're always trying to land some big account. He's a real man's man. And he's just kind of magically granted the ability to hear women's thoughts. And he just gets this like it's like a rude awakening when he realizes that most women think he's a real creep because he's a creep. And he gets this magical ability by electrocuting himself. And I was thinking, oh, it's too bad he didn't die. But I'm sorry. I have a real problem. I guess I just can't enjoy Mel Gibson movies anymore.
We should explain that in case you guys don't know, we co-host a show called What a Creep. And one of our creeps we talked about was Mel Gibson. And actually, you did that episode. Yeah, you led that episode. So
I did.
Oh, you must have been really. Ugh.
He's a real creep. I do understand, like, at the time, we didn't know that Mel Gibson was such a creep. And he was a huge, huge movie star. I mean, he still is a huge movie star because people don't give a fuck. And I don't even think I really liked this movie at the time, mainly because I had this weird aversion to Helen Hunt. It had nothing to do with Mel Gibson. I actually like Helen Hunt, but for some reason, like, she's not a movie star to me. It's weird. I feel the same way about Jennifer Aniston. I'm like, I like them both, but they don't feel like movie stars. And I don't know what that is. And I don't have a good explanation because I'm high on their flu. But do you understand what I'm saying? Like, they don't.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the 90s, they were TV stars.
Yes.
Helen Hunt was on Mad About You, and Jennifer Aniston was on Friends.
Yeah.
You guys know that. And then Jennifer Aniston's been in a bunch of movies.
Yeah.
Most of them are not very good.
No.
But there's a few good ones there. But yeah, I feel the same way. When she just did the morning show on Apple Podcasts, Apple TV, excuse me, she was great. And it's like, that's her medium. That's where she's strongest. I mean, Helen Hunt's been good in movies,
right,
but I always think she's better in television.
Yes.
I think she's more of a director now.
Oh,
anyway.
Okay. That's good to know. Yeah. I think some people just have like this quality for television and it doesn't translate to movies. And for me, that's the case with Jennifer Aniston and Helen Hunt. But then other people do. Like Michael J. Fox was a huge TV star and he did well in movies. So, who knows? I'm just a weirdo. What did you think of this movie? And then we could just start at the beginning if we want.
I have to say, I didn't see it in the movie theater. I
Yeah.
somehow was not into it. The whole idea, I was like, that just sounds schlocky.
Yeah.
And I saw the movie when it came out on DVD or video, whatever it was that came out in 2000. And I promptly hated it. And so much I wanted to punch. If it were a person, I would punch it in the face. It made me so angry, ridiculously angry, like from the get-go.
Yeah.
Because he's a sexist pig. And the way we're told the reason why he is because he was raised by his mother.
Yeah.
And his mother was trampy, and the only guys he knew were guys who treat his mother like dog shit. And so instead of being a person who has empathy for women,
Right.
he treats women like shit. And it's over and over again. And I hated him so much.
Yeah, so I wrote in my notes, shouldn't it be the opposite? Shouldn't it be, I grew up with these guys treating my mom like an object, and I was like, hey, that's fucked up. I don't do that. But instead it was, nah, I'm going to do that too.
I mean, occasionally you meet guys that like raised in a house of women and they do turn out crappy. But for me, I don't know about you, but a lot of guys I met that I thought were actually extra cool had really great women in their lives, like smart mothers and sisters and aunties or whatever, and had some empathy for what women go through. But I mean, this guy's going through, I mean, his mother was a showgirl.
Right.
And so he's raised in, like you said, she's objectified in his profession. Her boss like grabs her ass and grabs her by the breasts, and we're supposed to think like, oh, she did a number on him.
It's not his fault. It's not his fault.
He can't help it.
It's mommy's fault. It's mommy's fault.
You know that expression, if it's not one thing, it's your mother.
Yeah.
It goes back to that. And so that really, and I'm a feminist, and because I really thought like, I know this movie was 20 years ago, and that is a long time ago.
Yes.
But at the same time, feminism wasn't crazy then either. It's just, but also I will say, I've talked about this before, especially it gets a lot wrong about offices for sure. And we'll go into that. But the thing they get right about it is that how women feel like we have to dress a certain way and speak a certain way to be treated seriously. We have to work so much harder to be treated with half as much respect as any fucking dude walking into a room. And it starts from your first, as an intern all the way up, like you realize like, oh, I have to be everything. I have to be pretty and smart and nice and cool, but tough and have answers. And it's exhausting. And then a lot of them also have families on top of that. And like, how do you do all that and not go crazy? I mean, I wish that was something a little bit more explored. Everything's done through the prism of him. And I get it. Mel's our movie star. He's the lead in this movie, but it's also just like he learns how women react to him. It's not like how women are.
Yes.
If that makes any sense.
Yeah, exactly. It makes perfect sense. And I think that there's just like, they don't do Helen Hunt's character really gets the short shrift in this movie.
Oh my God. First of all, I'll say this. Helen Hunt looks beautiful.
She does.
She's never looked better. I think she looks gorgeous in this movie.
Yes.
But yeah, so let's say this. Okay, let's start at the beginning.
Yeah.
So he's raised by this mother who's obviously did a number on him because that's, he can't help it. So you find out he's in his 40s-ish.
Yes.
And he works at an advertising agency, and you would think he ran it or was like the creative director.
He has like 5 assistants.
Yeah.
I'm like,
and he walks in at 10:30. He has all tits and ass, like for his advertising campaigns is all about that.
Right.
I mean, you think his swagger and everything, you would think, well, he's in charge. And it turns out he's just another account executive. So how he has 2 assistants, which is Delta Burke and Valerie Perrine, is beyond me.
He seems to even have more than that because like Sarah Paulsen waits on him hand and foot.
There are some of the best actresses ever.
Yes.
And they are giving, and this also, it's very true in an office, by the way. I could tell you that. Like Sarah Paulsen is capable of so much more. Judy Greer is in this movie.
I know.
Capable of so much more.
Yes. I mean, I guess good on Nancy Meyers for some really good casting. Like she clearly knew, who to cast in these parts, and they're really great in their parts. But you're right that the movie, there's this small section of the movie where he goes through the office after he's got his magical power to hear thoughts, and he can hear like, oh, Lisa Edelstein is another person who's in the movie. She was in like House and stuff like that. She's really great too. She plays another one of the ad execs, and as he's going through the office, he learns like he's not as cool with these ladies as he thinks he is, and that like they all find his sexist jokes offensive and tiring, and they don't want to be touched by him, and they're just like, ugh, what a fucking creep. And it's all about like the mask women have to wear,
right,
to not like ruffle any feathers, but also they want to like share their ideas, but how do you do that so it doesn't look like you're too aggressive? Because if you're too aggressive, then you're labeled like, they call Helen Hunt's character like a bitch on wheels, and she's the Darth Vader of the ad world and all this shit. And by the way, she seems to be a perfectly nice boss.
Oh, she totally gives everybody credit around her. She says that right off the bat. Like, I'm not going to hog all the credit. I understand we're a team and blah, 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 blah. But so he has, and he also, so we also forgot to mention, he's divorced. Of course he is.
He doesn't even know how old his own daughter is.
Which is just so shitty.
He's such an asshole.
And beautiful women everywhere. Lauren Holly is in here. That's his ex-wife. And she's getting married on a Wednesday at noon, I guess.
I'm like, what the fuck is that? Yeah, weird.
What? But she's going away for 2 weeks. And so her daughter's going to live with her dad for 2 weeks. And he has this fat ass apartment in Chicago facing Lake Michigan or whatever that lake is there. Sorry, Chicagoans. I will learn it. I'm going to be there in September. I will learn it before then. But he has all the accoutrements of success, but he is a dickhead, and he shows up and it's like, what is this guy good at except sexist imagery?
Right.
And I guess that's something we're supposed to okay. So Helen Hunt, it becomes the creative. He thinks he's going to be creative director. He's not. It's Helen Hunt they're going to bring around because their company, in 1 year, when $40 billion was spent on advertising just for women, that's what she says from Ad Age or whatever she got that statistic, not one of their campaigns was included in that. Yeah. How the fuck did they not get one campaign when there's like 50 women in that office?
Yeah. I also love that it's the year 2000 and these dickheads haven't figured out that women buy shit.
Women buy shit. Like,
I'm like, didn't they learn that? Didn't they learn that from Mr. Mom? Mr. Mom did that in the 80s.
Which was actually a really good movie about advertising agencies, I say.
We should put that one on the list.
Oh, I'd love to on that list. I love that movie. I love Michael Keaton. He's one of my big crushes.
Yeah, he's awesome.
He's so awesome. But he would have been good in this part, actually.
Maybe. Yeah, I think the problem is I don't like I don't know if it's because I know Mel Gibson's a creep, but I don't like this character, Nick. I think he's a dick. And
Nick is a dick.
Nick is a dick. And Nick the dick. And I don't think Nick the dick earns the redemption arc that he's given in this movie.
That is so slapped together. Well, so let's just go through the plot. Yeah. So Helen Hunt becomes the creative director, says, hey, we need to approach women. We need to appeal to women. I want to have all your ideas, because she's a collaborator, which is what women are good at. So she sends out, of course, pink boxes to everybody. And I'm not talking about what you think I'm talking about. Yeah. There's an actual pink box.
Yes.
And they open the box up, and there's a Wonder Bra, and there's pantyhose, and there's lipstick. And it's basically, I want you to come in with me with your pitch. She gives them like 1 day.
Yes.
She goes, I don't care if it's one pitch at all in total, or one for every product, whatever you feel comfortable with. But come to me and tell me what you think your pitch would be, which is a good exercise.
Yeah, absolutely.
But just try to figure out our team, who's creative, who's good at what. And so Mel Gibson goes home. And it turns out his 15-year-old daughter is dating an 18 in quotes guy. He looks 30. Yeah. He's the guy from 6 Feet Under.
Yeah.
I mean, I was kind of creeped out too, but he comes home and he puts on the pantyhose, because of course he does. Like, how would he know what to do unless he wore the pantyhose?
Yes.
He puts on mascara. He puts on Poor Thing on his nose. And he catches his daughter smooching her boyfriend, does that weird thing that guys do in movies. Don't you touch my daughter, you know.
We love it when dudes police women's virginities. Bodies. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's really fun to watch. Mm-hmm. And then he has an accident in the bathroom. He slips on bath soaps or the bath ball things. Yeah. And he grabs a hairdryer and he jumps into the tub at the same time. But it's very uncomfortable to watch him slipping.
Yeah.
But he gets electrocuted.
Yeah. He doesn't die though.
And his daughter never comes in and goes, what the hell just happened?
Yeah.
Like, the power just went out. Nothing. But he wakes up and he's such an asshole. Like, he has a cleaning woman, I guess, it comes by every day.
Yeah.
he slaps her on the ass. He slaps women on the ass all the time.
Oh my gosh, he's such a creep, and he's so gross to her too. I'm like, that poor woman.
She's just trying to make a living, and she just but that's when he realizes, like, oh, I can hear women's thoughts, and if he's near I don't know what the rules are. Also, this movie confuses me, but
it's so weird because there's a thing where like he's going through the park and he can hear like the things that every woman is thinking, including a female dog.
Right.
A dog's like, Monsieur, I need to poop. Like, it's like a little French poodle.
That actually made me laugh.
And I thought I'd laugh too, but I was very confused. I was like, so he can hear like all women, like female, like including female animals?
And exactly. And like, and he at one point he could hear Helen Hunt when she's on the phone with him.
Yeah.
Like, right. So it's very strange, but he goes to the office, and like you said, he goes to all these women, and except for, of course, Delta Burke and Valerie Perrine, they're not thinking anything. They're dumb, I guess. I don't know. They bought his bullshit.
Yeah.
But every other woman there thinks he's an asshole, and because he is, like, flat out. And so I'm like, I don't find him likable. So he's sort of encumbered by this, which of course you would be. I mean, you would be freaked out if you could also read thoughts everywhere, because I really wouldn't want to do that. I'm blissfully unaware.
No, I don't want to know. I don't want to know what people are thinking.
I don't want to know what people are thinking, especially about me. I don't need that pressure. So he goes to the psychiatrist, and I guess this was the therapist he went to when he was getting through the divorce. And it's Bette Midler.
Bette Midler. Uncredited Bette Midler, I believe.
I believe so too. And so she's in this movie, and she immediately hates him, and then he starts talking, and then he demonstrates to her like his power, and she believes it right away. And then she says, well, you should just use that to your advantage. Like, you're not going to
I'm like, that's
it. You're not going to take video of this and take credit for this like whole phenomenon. Like, you're going to just send him out.
Yeah, it's so weird.
It's so weird. So the first thing he does is we have, oh God, Marisa Tomei, who won an Oscar a few years before.
Yes. Oh, Marisa
has
Tomei.
The most thankless, stupid role that she's an actress, but she works at a coffee shop, and he's always flirting with her. And she always says,
hitting on her.
Always hitting on her. She's always saying, no, 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 no. He reads her thoughts. She really wants him to say yes. Thanks for that, Nancy Meyers. Like, just
sometimes no means yes. Thanks.
Thank you. So he takes her out, and of course he can have crazy sex with her now because he can really listen to what women want.
That's the whole thing was super weird to me, because I was like, now he's using his power for shitty stuff, right? So he's tricking Marisa Tomei's character into sleeping with him. And I'm like, well, that's like a weird like issue of consent, right? I'm like,
yeah.
Also, like, his whole thing was, I'm not going to hurt you again. We're going to take it slow. And then he proceeds to hurt her again and doesn't take it slow. And I was like, oh, you're such an asshole.
Well, then she decides, oh, you must be gay because you talk like a woman now.
Yeah.
And he says, yeah, I am. So thank you to the lesbian gay community out there.
Yeah. The storyline is problematic, to say the least.
So he decides the best, because he resents Helen Hunt for taking his job, quote unquote.
Yes.
When he's clearly not qualified for. He's not willing to go to the office on time. He's not,
Right.
But he mentally, because she's a woman and we hesitate before we speak. We have to make sure we know what we're going to say, because we like to think things out, because we get attacked if we don't. Is thinking out a pitch, and he just says what she said, what she's thinking.
Yeah, he
gets credit for her. He steals her ideas, basically. Yes. He does. And he steals her ideas, and he takes the credit for it, and he gets the credit for it. And there's a couple of scenes where, I guess he has to get close to women to hear them, but there's a woman like jogging, and he like jogs right next to her.
I know.
And she should punch him in the balls.
No
like,
shit.
Get the fuck away from me. Spray him with mace or something. Like, that's very creepy.
It's so
he's
creepy.
Getting in women's spaces, but he's trying to get information. And like, I have to say this. Okay, I'm going to give a positive. The ad they create is great.
It's a really good ad. You're right.
It's an awesome ad. I would buy those shoes. Like, if I saw that today, it was brilliant. But he gets to present it, not Helen Hunt.
Yes.
And so he gets the credit, and then she gets fired.
Yeah, it sucks. It's super shitty.
Yeah.
And there's also, I'll say, one of the things he does do with his power, though, is he starts being nice to Judy Greer, who's like the really meek, quiet, like male girl that everyone ignores. And she's clearly suicidal, has depression. and he's nice to her. And I was like, yeah, well, everyone should be nice to Judy Greer. I can get on board with that. But it is a super weird, once again, weird storyline where like there's this very serious thing going on in this movie. This girl is thinking about killing herself. This woman is thinking about killing herself, and he I don't know, he rides in to like save her and like gives her like a copywriting job and all that. And like I love Judy Greer and it makes me happy when she's happy.
Yeah.
But it's still like this really weird, like strangely serious part of this movie about a dude who can read minds.
It also, there's a scene with he's given so much credit, by the way, guy, as a guy, he's given so much credit for just doing a halfway nice thing,
right? Yes.
There's a scene where he's talking with the women in a coffee clutch, in the kitchen, and as they're walking, they're like, oh, isn't he great? I'm like, he's not doing anything you wouldn't do in a conversation, but he gets so much credit. There's a scene where his daughter has her friends come over, and he ignores his daughter. Like, she comes to live with him, and he pays attention to her occasionally, but he's like, he can read their minds, and he realizes, oh, there's no food in the house, and she's got her prom coming up, and he goes, hey, guys, get some pizza, and hey, I'm going to take you shopping. And all of a sudden they're like, oh,
thanks for doing the bare minimum. You're the best dad ever.
Yeah. I mean, credit for just what mothers do times 10 and get credit for.
Yeah, by the way, that's just a normal thing. Like, I'm sorry, I don't want to shit on dads, because there are awesome, awesome dads out there.
Yep.
But especially in the older generation, this is true in my family. And sorry if like members of my family are listening, but like David, my husband, spends a lot of time with my son, and they're always like, it's so great that David will babysit yours. And I was like, he's not babysitting. He's his dad. He's his father. Like he actually likes Calvin. He wants to spend time. It's so weird. It's like they give him the bare minimum like credit. It's like, good job, like acknowledging your son, David. Like, so weird.
But it is. I mean, people do have those attitudes, and it's like, it's movies like this don't help when he's a hero for ordering pizza. I mean, it's just like, come on. But that whole plot line, like, he forgets that she's at her prom.
Yeah.
Like, did she get dressed at the apartment or something? Like, where did she go? And then she gets dumped by her boyfriend, and he rescues her because she won't sleep with the boyfriend. And then what happens to Helen Hunt? He admits that he stole her ideas.
Yeah, which I don't know how, like, isn't she like, well, how would he have possibly stolen your ideas? Because he never admits to her that I can read your mind.
No, and I don't know how they come up with it either, but yeah.
And she starts to fall in love with him, which I think is weird because
he's an asshole.
He's an asshole. And her husband, like, she met her first husband, at work, and like shit didn't work out. She said within a year they got divorced, and it's like, what does she do? Like, immediately falls for a dude at work. The relationships, like, I was going to ask you, do you think Darcy and Nick are still together?
Oh God, no.
No, because she fell in love with a dude who could read her mind, and now he can't read her mind anymore. He's probably a huge asshole again.
It's I think they didn't know what they realized with Helen Hunt, like, oh, she's a really good actress. She could do anything. And so they tried to twist and turn the idea to make her not look like such a sap.
Yes.
But at the same time, they needed them to make out, and they look so uncomfortable. They don't
have chemistry.
None.
Mm-mm.
None. It's very like the sexual politics are weird. Like Loretta Devine is like she's the what am I thinking of? She's not the super.
Like the door person.
The door person at the building, and it's like, your ass. Oh my God. like, oh my God. She sees him every day. Like, really?
It's such a weird movie.
And it's long. This movie's way too fucking long.
It was over 2 hours, right?
2 hours, 10 minutes.
Yeah.
There's a sequence where Mel Gibson is dancing to, everybody liked Frank Sinatra in 2000 for some, and I like Frank Sinatra too, but it was like, at that time, it was like the swingers and everything. Yeah. It was too much.
It was totally like, this was like romantic comedy stuff, right? It's like, it had to be you, that sort of like swing jazz soundtrack. It was super common. It's standard rom-com fare for him to have a dance number. It's usually chicks, but in this case, it's Mel Gibson.
Yeah,
whatever.
it's normally women singing into a hairbrush.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's him just dancing
Have
around
you
the apartment.
ever sang into a hairbrush?
Not a hairbrush, but
I mean, I definitely sing, but not into a hairbrush.
I just use my fist, like my hand.
Yeah.
I don't need like something in it.
I don't need a prop.
I don't need props. I got my imagination. And I'm awesome in my imagination.
Oh my God, I'm such a good singer in my imagination. I'm amazing. And it's quite the opposite. It's quite terrible. I'm also an amazing dancer in my mind. Also quite the opposite.
But yeah, he kind of learns his lessons. I mean, a little bit, but I don't know. I just think with all the women that they have, I mean, I have to laugh too, because Sarah Paulsen, she has an Israeli boyfriend who comes to the office. I'm like, I know. I was like, oh boy, watch out for him.
I know. He gives like Mel Gibson's character a yarmulke, and he's like, it looks good on you. And I'm like, that's funny because he's an anti-Semite.
His dad doesn't think the Holocaust happened.
Yeah,
hilarious.
It's so funny. It's hilarious.
It's hilarious.
It's such a weird movie because I texted you and I was like, I don't hate it. I actually thought I would hate it like way more than it turned out. Like I was like, it's not as. I like the part where he goes into the office. It's honestly, it's like the saving grace of the movie for me is the part where he goes into the office and he gets to see like what acting like a creep in the office really does to women. It was like it was like my favorite part of the whole movie. But then he'll do shit that's fucking awful. Like they have the first pitch about like all the female products, and he embarrasses Anna Gasteyer's character in that scene.
Yes,
embarrasses her, like reads her mind, and then uses it to basically shame her in front of everybody. And I was like, what a fucking prick.
He's a prick. I don't like him.
No.
I really don't. I don't think they try to make, he has a turnaround like super quick.
Yeah.
At the very, very end of the story. And they try to give him a redemption angle, but I don't find it believable.
I think there's things they could have done to make this. I think maybe there's just too many stories going on here. Like,
yeah,
if they had stuck to, he's a creep in the office and he starts listening and he fucking learns something, that would have been good. But instead they throw in the daughter, they throw in Helen Hunt, they throw in
Marisa Tomei. What was her point?
Tomei, and like there's nothing there for. I wondered the same thing. I'm like, why did they even have that story in there? And is it because they just wanted to do the joke about sex? Like the idea that he would be really great at sex because he can read women's minds.
But it's like, would that really make you great at sex? I mean, I think it would maybe it would, but I also was like, women just don't talk like that. She does, like, oh my God, that was the greatest thing ever.
Yeah.
And then she's also still like completely clothed. Like there's like, really, that was great. Like your bra is still on.
Couldn't have been that good. You're still dressed.
Yeah, exactly. Your hair isn't all that messed up. I mean, I don't know. I'm not buying it. I just was.
Well, it's so weird because if they wanted that joke, if that's the thing that they were trying to go for with that, couldn't they just have done that with the Helen Hunt character?
Yeah.
But instead, their relationship is kind of chaste. It's kind of, like a little bit of making out, but no sex. And so then I don't know, it's kind of old fashioned, actually. It's like the woman he sleeps with is like, she's not for real. But the one that like he kind of makes out with and doesn't sleep with is the one that's supposedly the love of his life. I don't know.
Who's his boss, by the way?
Who's his boss? I know, that shit's inappropriate. And then when the movie
he stole her ideas.
Yeah. And then when it's all over, she fires him and then he becomes the Joker.
And it's just like.
But she does fire him.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm like, okay. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
That's your punishment, dude. Whatever. Like
I just think it's like I don't know.
It. Yeah.
I remember I listened to Howard Stern.
Yeah.
And this is one of his favorite movies, and he even says so.
What?
And it's like, I know his taste is so crazy, and they even tease him about it because I don't know. I just think he learns a lot. I'm like, you think he learns a lot? I think he learns some things, but I would have liked to have learned a lot more myself. And just like you said, just have the office angle
Yeah.
and have him. That would have made it so much more. And then that's a richer environment. They have so many great actresses there. You didn't need to bring in other people outside. We didn't need a prom. We didn't need a daughter.
No.
We just didn't need all that stuff. I mean, it could have been just so much, and so much more could have been said.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that, like you said, there's just too much going on. They just kind of ram everything at the end. They try to run to the finish line.
It's interesting you say it's like one of Howard Stern's favorites. Maybe this movie isn't for women. Maybe.
No, it's not.
For dudes.
I think it's for dudes who think they're going to learn something by the end. Who are not total assholes. Maybe they're a little chauvinistic, but maybe they can learn. Like they have a little bit of a woke in them that I think there's a little bit there. And then they have like lots of pretty women you can look at.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's also, it's a way of also a guy to be like, how can I score with women? Oh, this one movie will tell me. This is how women think.
Yay.
This is what women want.
Did you see the remake, by the way?
I was going to, but I was so annoyed with this. I was like, I just can't take another disappointment.
I also did not see the remake. I think I'm going to pass.
Yeah.
But I really like the woman who stars in it. What's her name? Taja Henson.
Taraji.
Thank you. God, I suck at names. Jesus. Anyway, I actually do really like her. I think she's rad, but not enough to see. I think she is too. Not enough to see what men want.
No, but what's so funny is that that movie came out last year in 2019, and I looked up and there were a bunch of think pieces about, hey, we're going to watch this movie again because this new movie's coming out, and they all have the same thing, like, oh boy, this is really bad. If you told me this was made in 1990, I would believe it.
Right? This movie feels like a 1990s movie.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it's part of the 21st century at all.
Mm-mm. I agree. So, do you want to hear about other movies that came out in 2000?
Yeah, of course.
Or do you have more to say about what women want?
The soundtrack is a very 2000. I mean, that song, I'm a bitch, I'm a liar, yeah. That was a thing. Remember you heard that everywhere?
They used it in movie previews all the time.
All the time at the time.
Yeah.
And it's funny because he's holding an Alanis Morissette CD.
Yeah.
I'm like, put that on. No, he puts on the other one.
No. No, that song's fine. I like that song. It's all right. But it was in every trailer, every movie trailer. Yeah, other movies of the 2000s. Sorry, you guys, Theraflu. I'd have to blame it all on Theraflu. It's actually a pretty eclectic list. Number 10, What Lies Beneath.
Oh, I like that movie.
I liked it too. That's Harrison Ford, Michelle Pfeiffer. That's good people. Number 9 is The X-Men. Like, that's fine. That's a good one. Number 8, The Perfect Storm. I remember.
Oh God, that's a bad movie.
You think so? I remember liking it.
Oh, it's terrible. We should do it.
Oh, we should revisit. Is it based on a book or anything?
Yeah, it's based on a book by God damn it, John Krakauer. It'll come to me.
Yeah. Number 7, a movie that everyone loves and I super hate, Meet the Parents.
I like it fine.
I don't like it at all.
At all?
No. It's so weird. Okay. I really wanted to like it. Everyone loves it. I wish I liked it too. I went and saw it on a date and there was no second date. I did not like. Number 6 is the live action How the Grinch Stole Christmas.
Really bad.
I really don't like that one at all.
No, it's not good at all.
Calvin has been watching the 2017 animated one with Benedict Cumberbatch as the voice of the Grinch, and it's actually really, really good.
Oh,
so,
okay.
FYI. Number 5 is a movie called Dinosaur, which I think, I'm like, is that a Pixar movie?
It totally sounds like a Pixar movie.
I'm like, I don't know what it is. Number 4 was What Women Want.
Yeah, it made a lot of money. A lot of people like this.
It's pretty crazy that that's number 4 when you hear what 3, 2, and 1 is. So number 3 is Castaway.
Oh, I like Castaway.
Castaway's great. Number 2 is Gladiator. People love it. And it made a shit ton of money. And then number 1 is Mission Impossible 2.
Oh, I like the Mission Impossible movies.
I do too. I think they're very entertaining.
Yeah, they're super entertaining.
I like them. I'm a fan. It's the best way to watch Tom Cruise, in my opinion.
No, that's what he was built for.
Have
Seriously.
Have you seen those trailers that they're doing for Maverick in front of movies where they're show? Oh no, probably not, because you go to like Alamo, so they probably don't show it. There's these like kind of commercials for Maverick, the Top Gun sequel, where they talk about like the fancy, crazy cameras that they're putting in the cockpits so that you can actually see like how flying those things impact people's faces and stuff like that.
No, thank you.
It kind of makes me want to throw up. It makes
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know if I'll be able to handle that movie, but I'll give it a shot. Margot's never seen Top Gun, you guys. It's on the list.
It's on the list. I definitely will watch it. I've seen scenes. I know what it is.
Yes, of course.
But I've never watched it.
It'll take your breath away. At least that's what the soundtrack tells me.
So do you want to hear about the top songs of 2000?
Yes, I do.
We'll start with, I'll go from the bottom and work to the top. I just picked these randomly, sorry. Nelly Furtado, I'm Like a Bird. I love that song.
That's a good song.
It's such a good song. Baha Men, Who Let the Dogs Out?
Who let the dogs out?
Who? U2, Beautiful Day.
I
love that song.
Me too. I love it.
Outkast, Miss Jackson. I love that song.
That's a song that's dope.
It's very dope. Speaking of dope people, Eminem, Real Slim Shady.
I used to love that song. I haven't
Me
heard
too.
it in forever.
I played the 5, is it 5 miles, 6 miles?
8
What's the
Mile.
name of 8 Miles? Sorry.
Oh, Lose
Yeah.
Yourself.
Lose Yourself. I played that today.
Oh my God.
Because he has a new album out.
I did not know that. And Lose Yourself is one of those great like workout songs. I
Yeah,
assume that's why you're
exactly.
playing it.
Yes, for a climb.
It's
And then the number one, I wanted to pick the song because you and I talked about Lou Pearlman on What a Creep. He was the he was the manager for NSYNC. NSYNC that year had a song called Bye Bye Bye, which I really liked.
That's a really catchy song. That song
It's
is
super catchy.
That song is catchy as fuck. And people who want
Yeah.
to shit on pop music, don't be a hater. Stop lying to yourself. You fucking love that
Yes.
song too. You love it.
It's when I hear, oh God, do you remember when I was a kid and I would hear older white guys bitching about disco?
Yeah.
And it just was like, yeah, because a thing exists in the world that's super popular
Yeah.
that doesn't need you.
Yeah.
That's really your problem with it.
I don't I know that there was definitely a thing where it's like, I hate disco. That was like a running joke. And I'm like, it's just encouraging people to dance and have fun. Who
It
cares?
includes also women and gay people and
Yeah.
people of color.
I'm like,
That's
shut
the thing.
up.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not for you. Shut the fuck up. Who cares?
One of those behind the musics that I used to watch obsessively on VH1, and it was a rock band. I think it was like Leonard Skinner or something, but one of them was bitching about, we hated disco music. We're like, why don't you just go in your garage and create a band? I'm like, do you understand? Not everybody has a garage, dum-dum. Like,
Right. People are what an
they're so
asshole.
fucking dumb. Yeah.
You know,
Anyway,
I don't like country music, but you don't see me like walking around with like a shirt that says like country music sucks. Like who
I
cares?
would never, yeah, who cares what I think? By the way, yeah, exactly. I'm like, I don't have to listen to it. So,
It's
yeah.
so weird. Anyway, people are weird. What else are you dorking out about?
Well, I mean, I keep going to creeps, but we talked about Bill Cosby on our other show, and there's a new podcast out, and it's called Chasing Cosby. And it's part of LA Times, Los Angeles Times. They have 2 episodes out right now, and I'm not sure how many they're going to do, but it's, the story's fascinating. I mean, he is a total creep.
Mhm.
And it's hard to explain to people if you're a young person, if you're like in your 20s or something, to explain to you how popular he was in the 80s and how powerful he was.
Yes.
And that's why he got away with it. And it's very, very interesting. And they speak to all the main characters. And I'm super, I mean, yeah, it's a tough thing to listen to, but I'm really happy for these women finally are treated, being taken seriously,
Yes.
Finally, and having a chance to tell their story. So that's what I'm dorking out about.
Yeah. Is it weekly or did they drop like a whole bunch of episodes at once?
They just dropped 2 episodes, and I think it's going to be weekly after that.
Okay.
But it's called Chasing Cosby, and they have a Cosby sweater as their artwork, which is
Of course
great.
they do. Of course they do. You have to.
Yeah.
I guess we both have creeps on the brain because yesterday I started watching Killer Inside, The Mind of Aaron Hernandez.
I started that last night, but I had to go to bed to teach. So
same.
it sounded good. Yeah, I was like
Yeah.
half an hour in. I'm like, this is really good, but I'm going to catch it tomorrow a little earlier.
I think it's going to be my binge today because, as everyone could tell, I'm sick. So I'm going to be spending a lot of time on the couch. And I think this is going to be my thing. It's apparently it's produced by the same people who did like Making a Murderer. And so I'm definitely getting like that kind of vibe from it.
Yeah.
But I find it really, really interesting. And the truth is, I don't know much about Aaron Hernandez. So
yeah, there's a podcast about him. I can't remember the name. It came out last year and was really, really good. I mean, he's a very interesting person to study. You wonder, like, was it homophobia that drove him crazy, or is it because he hating himself? Excuse me.
yeah.
Or was it the concussions?
That's one of the things I'm curious if they're going to get into that, because that's something that comes up a lot when they talk about these football players that are committing. There's a lot of like domestic violence and a lot of assault, and there's definitely been murders, and a lot, not all, but a lot have like brain damage from football. It's fucked up, and
they don't live long lives, and like by their 60s, they are really in a lot of pain.
Yeah. And they're like medicating with all kinds of drugs, and they die young. It's really, it's scary and sad to watch people. I honestly, I can't even really watch football anymore because it's like
I used to love it,
but
makes
me cringe
I agree.
because I'm just like, oh, they're just out there like hurting themselves for our amusement. It's really, really hard to watch. But I watch baseball, so who am I? I could shut the fuck up now. I'm like, I like
baseball's not nearly as violent as football.
No, it isn't.
That's why it's so boring.
I love it. I don't think it's boring. But there's actually like a really big cheating scandal going on in baseball right now. It's very dramatic.
Well, what's going on? I don't understand. Like who's cheating? The Astros?
The Astros apparently were reading signs, like using like mobile devices and like listening devices and things to like interpret the signs so they knew what pitches were coming. And they actually
doesn't everybody do that, or am I wrong?
No. If they do, no one else has been caught. They've been caught. And they actually won the World Series the year they did that. So and they were fined like a ton of money, and like the coach and the assistant coach were let go, and like the whole team was in on it. So then it's like, well, which team members were in on it? And a lot of these guys still play. Some of them still play for the Astros. Some of them have moved on to different roles, so they're like losing their positions on other teams. I think Carlos Beltran was a coach, moved on to be a coach on another team, and now he's lost his job. It's really crazy.
Oh wow!
Eventually, there's going to be an amazing documentary about it, and I will
movie.
And I will watch the shit out of that stuff.
The books and movies will be really good too, and the podcasts.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
It's pretty crazy though. Oh my God, I totally forgot to mention we got a 5-star review.
Oh my God, thank you. Yes. From Marisa?
Yeah, Marisa. She said that she found us. She was listening to What a Creep, and which is our other podcast, you guys, and you should listen. And we have a Patreon page, and we have lots of extra stuff there and bonuses and newsletters. Anyway, she found us from there and then came over here and said it's a good palate cleanser from listening about creeps to us talking about movies, and specifically mentioned our episode on St. Elmo's Fire, which is also one of my favorite episodes that we've done because it's really funny. I think
it's hilarious.
I think it's hilarious. That movie is, what the fuck? That's what I think about that movie. Where can people find you on the internet, Margo?
On social media, you can find me at Brooklyn Fitchick. That's for Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. I'm mostly active on Twitter and Instagram, and my blog is brooklynfitchick.com.
And you can find both of us, like I said, at What a Creep. Please listen, please subscribe. And you can find Dorking Out Show at dorkingout.com and Dorking Out Show on Twitter and Facebook. And you can find me at The Sonia Show on Twitter and thesoniashow.com. This was super fun talking about what women want. Thanks for braving it with me.
Well, take some more Theraflu and get a nap today, okay?
That's what women want, more Theraflu and a nap.
I want Mel Gibson in a storm holding a hairdryer, actually.
That's what
I'm
we all
okay with
want.
that.
That's not just
Oh,
women. That's what everybody wants.
why can't it knock the anti-Semitism out of him? Maybe it would work.